It's your favorite time of the week. It's your favorite day of the week. It's time to Star Trek and chill. You've earned it. It's been a crazy week. It's been like 8 days a week, as the Beatles might tell you. So hang out with us, have some fun. There is so much to discuss. It's nuts, and it's all related to Star Trek. We're going to talk about Walter Koenig and some history being made there, of course. We're also going to talk about Strange New Worlds cut a really important scene. What? I made sure not even to look at that at all because I wanted it to be a surprise. That's weird. Look, everybody knows the 51st annual Saturn Awards is happening, and Star Trek Picard, Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks are all getting nominations. That's pretty freaking cool. We have some Orville season 4 news to talk about if anybody's daring. Anybody wants to
I don't want to, Ryan. I don't
drop
want
their
to.
toes into that. So there's so much to talk about. Also, everybody, 4 years ago today, we lost our very good friend, virtual friend, that is Rene Auberjonois. That is Odo, Constable Odo. So everybody give somebody a harumph tonight after the show for Odo. Oh, and everybody, can you believe it? From CBR.com, Joshua M. Patton is joining us. What's up?
Good evening. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm ready to Star Trek and chill.
Yes, this guy gets it. He writes some of your favorite articles, everybody, so you're in for a treat there. Melissa Longo is here, who has never actually had a treat before. It's weird.
I know, deprived. But I do have this wonderful shirt from Star Trek and Chill online you can get it online. The link is below below this video. So check it out. Jake and I go back together, Steamboat and Chill.
Together forever.
Yeah.
Does the jingle come with it?
Hope not.
It's a full tab shirt.
For a discount. Look, everybody, meteorologist Katie Nicolau is here, who was like at GalaxyCon last week, I think.
Yes, I was. It was crazy. They literally were partying until 2 a.m. every single night.
Wow.
It was crazy. There was like 4 different raves going on. It was magnificent. Well, I actually saw Walter coming out of karaoke at 1 in the morning.
Oh, that's so freaking cute.
Oh,
like,
what a party animal.
He
cute.
is.
He was probably he probably just found a nook
On
to
West
nap
Coast
in.
time, you're so lucky.
And then he like woke up when everybody started singing. He was like, how'd this happen to me?
Where am I?
You guys, Shar Schmidt is here. Everybody loves her.
Hello. You do?
Yeah.
I'm part of everybody.
I mean, I'll take it. I just have doubts about that. Someone out there hates my guts, and that's fine. I probably hate theirs.
Speaking of which, Dr. Anne-Marie Seagull is here.
What a shock. OG biggest fans. Hello.
She's the walking exclamation point. By the way, Shar and Katie are matching shirts, which is very cool. Prune Juice and Chill. You can get those shirts, Melissa's and mine, which is a really cool baseball shirt. Look, that San Francisco Cadets.
Mm-hmm.
At the link in the description box below. That is the Star Trek and Chill Shopify store. So let's get into this. Hello, Chuck, Bob, Linda, Shag 840, Dave Gregory with the biggest heart on the internet, Matt Boardman, the Matt Boardman. So sorry. Hello.
Matt Boardman.
Hello to all of you. JR Poole, who's out in Pittsburgh, just like Joshua M. Patton. That's
what up,
cool.
Yins?
Oh yeah, you guys say Yins.
Yeah, we do.
I don't even know.
You're saying.
I think it has a Z in it. It's a little more style than y'all. No disrespect to my Southern brothers and sisters, but Yins is it's got that Z, and Z's add pizzazz.
I actually looked up Yins just a few months ago to figure out what the etymology was, and it was like originally a contraction of 2 words, but now I can't remember what the 2 words were and how it changed. It was like you ones. What is it? Ye ones?
Yeah. You ones
Yeah.
is the legend.
All right. What do you drink? Oh, Joshua, what are you drinking today? You got something special to sip on, right?
Yes.
I do. I put a lot of thought into this. At first I was like, maybe I should have like bourbon, like, oh, he's a writer. He lives on whiskey and on weed, but I
Oh.
don't. And then I thought about getting like a juice, some weird color drink, call it like a Haconian tornado or something. But I opted to
approve.
go with just a half calf black iced coffee. Ethically sourced from a nebula, just as Janeway.
Oh,
Nice.
Nicely
Nice.
done.
amazing.
So
Wow.
cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Rebellious.
Cheers.
Half calf, just to play it safe, since it's already 8 o'clock for you.
It is. I'm gonna be up very late nonetheless, but
Yeah. Melissa Longo, what are you drinking today, pal?
LaCroix limoncello. I had to it was a last minute thing, and it's delicious.
So good. One of the best flavors
Mm.
out there for sure.
So good. Yeah.
Meteorologist Katie, what about you?
I have the finest warmed up tap water that money can't buy. But it has a little splash of honey from my 7th grade science teacher's bee farm, and it takes it to
Oh.
a different level. It completely covers up the lead. It's amazing.
Well, doesn't technically anything take water up to a different level?
True.
it is baseline. It is kind
Yeah.
of.
I mean,
I like
this
how
is
you
just
have
bubbles.
heated warm water.
Oh,
Sort of like
yes.
how on lower decks, Lynn has water room temperature. You have water warm.
Exactly. I mean, I also have water room temperature, but that's just as a backup. I'm the most boring person for drinks. I don't know how else to spice this up anymore.
That's so funny. That's what Melissa was saying about you. And Shar, what do you...
You're
What do you-
feisty tonight, sir.
I know.
It's Friday, whatever.
Spicy. Love it.
Shar, what are you drinking today?
Oh
I'm sorry,
man, I've
Katie.
been boring too, so I'm fitting right in. And I got ginger ale because I did not have time to go downstairs and get the good sauce. So
Oh.
I mean, you know how quick it was between getting into the room and then going live. So that
You gotta train
yeah.
the cats to be able to carry you whiskey.
God, I wish.
Like the St. Bernard barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Aw.
If you have an
hear
orange
that,
cat, I
boys?
don't doubt they could do it.
Get mommy a drink.
Make them work.
Because just like a couple shots, but that's plenty if you just need
Yeah,
that for the
Dex can
beverage for the
handle
night.
it.
All I need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lazy
Dr. Anne-Marie
slackers.
Siegel, what's up with you? What are you drinking?
A coffee because I just got back from happy hour.
Coffee
Nice.
twins right there.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a nice root beer in honor of Rene Auberjonois. I felt like what's a nice
Aw.
Odo beverage. So I'm having this Sprecher root beer, fine brewed craft soda. And it's kind of big.
Cool.
It's delicious.
Mm,
Nice. It's a cool label too.
we should have a
Mhm.
cheers
Mm.
to Renee.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
To Rene,
To Renee.
to Constable Odo.
Aw.
Amazing human he was.
We'll talk a bit more about him a little later. And everybody in the live chat, feel free to give us your favorite Odo moans.
Yay.
I for a second I thought you said moans. And I was like, he moaned? Wait, what?
Well, yeah,
Not
starting
really.
like late
Harumph.
season 6,
He could
season
moan.
7, when he and Kira got together.
Oh.
God.
I was gonna
And
say,
demonetized.
more than one, yeah. On more than one occasion, he could have moaned.
What do you mean, Melissa?
I love it when you do that, Ryan.
Sorry about that. Okay. Well, let's get up into this. Everybody, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. If you're listening in, please give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. We'd really appreciate it. And now we're going to do what you've been demanding in the live chat. Talk about Star Trek. First and
Star Trek,
foremost,
I'm not familiar. Is that a show?
you are
It's a
in the
TV
right
show.
place. You're going to learn all about it. Starting with an article from CBR.com. What a coincidence.
Sounds like it was handsomely written.
Yeah.
Probably.
Written by
Certainly
Joshua
starts off
M.
handsomely.
Patton. It's entitled How Walter Koenig Can Finally Tell His Star Trek Story on His Terms. I think the on his terms is a very important qualifier there. Let's scroll down to this first segment here. And it reads a little something like this. Oh, that's too far. Too far. Did I go too far? There it is. Okay. There has never been a better time to be a fan of Star Trek, which is impressive considering the franchise is nearly 60 years old, along with a third wave of new series, Star Trek Discovery, Lower Decks, Picard, Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, and others in development. There are a number of Star Trek-themed podcasts featuring people who worked on the second wave series. One of these, The Seventh Rule, is extending a hand back through time to Star Trek, the original series icon Walter Koenig, the man who brought Pavel Chekhov to life, will rewatch the series and finally tell his story on his terms. So, Joshua, you wrote this article. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? Because the on his terms, I think, is the key part, right?
Well, long before I was writing about Star Trek for CBR, I would eat up every behind the scenes thing. In fact, hold on. Since the 1980s, when I got this book, The Making of Star Trek.
That's such a good book.
Yeah, it's, so having gone through a lot of it, Chekhov was added in the second season. The other than Kirk, Spock, and Shatner, DeForest Kelley, and Leonard Nimoy, the rest of the cast, they sometimes struggled to give them meaningful things to do in the films. And of course, Walter Koenig was also the only cast member not brought back for the animated series. He did get to write an episode though. But in a way, it seems like, Walter's story has always been added as an afterthought or put in the context of the bigger picture. So when I heard that, when I saw the video launching the Indiegogo and talking about this, I was genuinely delighted because, he's a character. He's got a lot of great stories. At one point on the podcast, you got to ask him about how he tried to commit insurance fraud in New York with Wavy Gravy, the Grateful Dead guy. I mean, he's an original. So the fact that he's going to be taking center stage in this rewatch of the original series is marvelous, just because he's a great man and he deserves to, tell his story without having to cut to Shatner, cut to Nimoy, cut to whoever.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is as much as I would love him to be here forever, none of our these people who were involved with the original series are going to be around forever. And it's
I
going to be amazing
believe
to
that
have a record
Shatner's going
of
to
that.
outlive all of us, honestly.
That's
He's
true.
going to drink some kind of alien juice and outlive all
It's the
of us.
horses. I'm telling you, it's the
It's
horses.
contracts. If he signs a contract, he's like, well, I got to stick around to fill that contract.
Dude doesn't stop.
Yeah.
But that's a really good point. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, so I think it's really awesome. One, as a Star Trek fan, but two, just in general, as a fan of television history. I think it's a great thing Yins are doing.
Yins. Wow.
Fun.
We're going to be peppering those in all night. This is good stuff.
You got to represent.
What do Yins think?
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to how Walter is going to do this. Is he going to be the kind of guy that just takes crazy notes and talks about the writing and talks about the camera angles and really goes in deep? Is he just going to fall asleep during every episode, but then just tell us unabashedly
Maybe season one. Maybe
and be
season
like,
1.
I don't know, I fell asleep. It was kind of boring, to be honest. I ate some cookies and took a nap. He'll be like, what was the last thing you saw? Or if he'll be like just focusing on the acting or just focusing squarely on his parts. I don't know. What do you guys think? What type of reviewer?
I wonder if it's going to spark some memories that he didn't realize he had from the time his times on set. And I think if it does, that will be gold, press latinum.
Well,
Yeah, I
also
hope
that
so.
he did a couple episode interviews or episode rewatches with Enterprise Incidents with Scott Mans. And my favorite part of it is that what it sparks is Hollywood gossip, because he lived in Hollywood for decades. And I cannot get enough Hollywood gossip. So he'll be like, oh yeah, this girl who then later went on to date this person, and then she got married to this person. I'm like, this is gold. I could listen to this for forever. And I mean, I totally agree that like it's just amazing to have these people's stories like caught like in perpetuity so that we always have them. So important.
What's your favorite kind of Hollywood gossip, Amory? Do you like
Old Hollywood.
sneaky relationship stuff, or who's a jerk on set, or what
No,
are you
old Hollywood shipping.
Ooh.
It's my favorite. That's why I can't get enough of the Cary Grant TV show that just came out with Jason Isaacs.
Oh,
good.
I didn't know
Nice.
about this. I'm gonna have to.
Oh, it's on
find that
BritBox.
immediately.
It's amazing. The first half just dropped on Wednesday. It's so good. I'm like,
BritBox.
yes, tell me all the gossip.
BritBox.
Plus, you know how I feel about Jason Isaacs.
Yeah, Anne-Marie's in love with Jason
Rightly so.
Isaacs.
But it doesn't
Wait.
look like Jason Isaacs. It looks like Cary
Amazing.
Grant.
Yeah.
He looks like Cary Grant.
See anything like Horace Grant? Somebody knows who Horace Grant is. He was the center for the Bulls in the 90s. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever. That's the
Okay.
only.
Sorry, I don't know who
derailed
he
this so
is.
hard.
Like, that's basketball, right?
That is basketball.
Okay, that's as far as
Yeah.
I go on that train.
Okay. Well, sorry for derailing us. Let me get us back on track here. This next item is
Ooh,
also
one more thing
actually
before we
please.
move on. Here's my prediction for, because it's happened on Seventh Rule with Sirach and the other podcasts. I wonder with distance and from doing it and watching it in succession like that, if it won't in some way maybe generate a new appreciation for the
Yeah.
work. I mean, that's
Right.
All right.
it's
Mhm.
especially, I mean, I don't know. Again, with Walter though, he's been talking about Star Trek longer than all of us have been alive, so who knows?
Mhm.
I just I can't wait to see what gossip or memories he.
Well, like with time separating it, I feel like it's to the point now that he can appreciate the acting and the thing as a whole, and he won't be like micro focusing on I should have done this wrong, different, or this different. It's like that is what it is. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
wonder if he'll have an appreciation for the show, taking out some of those more, I don't know, like the behind the scenes context of it all. Because maybe if things were hectic on set that day or something, maybe this time he can just sit back and watch and appreciate the work of art he helped produce.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of
And
times
it's gotta be-
actors. I was just gonna say, a lot of times actors, when they rewatch it so many years later, they go, "Yeah, I was actually pretty good. That was pretty good." We're like,
Yeah.
"I know, I told you." What were you saying, Joshua?
I was actually going to say a version of that same thing. Like, he'll probably be like, "Man, I killed it. I killed
Yes.
it, Chekhov." Because he did, unquestionably.
Did. He's so subtle. Like half the times I feel like when he says joke lines, he's not smiling, and half the times he is. And it's like, I want to hear how he decided how to play those lines. It's just so cute. And if he played it like he wasn't smiling but messing with people to see how they would react, he's so amazing. Love him.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
could just sit in a room and stare at a camera for 20 minutes, and I'd be like, yes, yes,
Yeah, go on.
come
Yeah,
on.
and blush.
And I'm interested to know how his background in psychology helped him make his choices in his character as Chekhov. that would be interesting to hear too.
Good point.
Definitely.
Just kind of like when we were talking about Sirach Lofton before he played Jake Sisko, his background in elementary school and how much that affected how much that influenced.
That really informed his performance as a kid.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that Walter was so well versed. That's cool. Okay, so here we are now. CBR.com, everybody, check this out. This is also written by Joshua M. Patton. Luckily,
that guy's prolific.
He's all over the place. So it says, Strange New Worlds cut a really important scene from the Klingon War episode. So I purposely read no further because I want this to be a shocking surprise. What is that scene?
So if you remember Under the Cloak of War, there are like the two flashbacks where Chapel first sees Mbenga's like feet in the tent, and then the transporter arrives with all the wounded soldiers. And then the scene after that, I think, is them doing that surgery where she has to manually pump the guy's heart.
Yep.
Somewhere in between there was like a quieter scene, like after I think they stored the guy in the transport buffer or whatever. It was very quiet, and it just showed them meeting for the first time properly. And it sort of explained why Mbenga was sleeping in the tent. He's like, if you can, in a war zone, if you can take a rest, which very real advice. And she's like, I think she said something to the effect of, I prefer to keep busy or whatever. And I think it really did sort of help make it click why they were such a tight pair, especially given that episode ends with her helping him, cover up like kind of a murder. But I also see why they might have cut it, because it is hard to fit. Like, do you tack it on to the end of that first scene, or do you throw in another flashback in between? Like, I don't even think there was enough room for it, but it was a really great scene. And I was shocked to see that it didn't make it into the episode.
The really fascinating part with that is that, like, back when we'd get like TNG or the 90s Star Trek like box sets with the deleted scenes, you could understand why things had to be deleted more, because they were on that tight like commercial time, because it was like network television. So it's really fascinating, like, since there's such a like disparity in how many minutes, like, episodes can be like 37 to 62 minutes. It's really interesting to me when they decide to cut scenes and then release them on the DVDs.
Sometimes Discovery's like 70 minutes, deal with it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going all the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about these streaming shows, is that that it was, purely for like artistic show production reasons. They were like, this scene doesn't work, or we don't know where to put it. And I guess it's that sort of kill your darlings thing, because I'm sure it's a great scene, well acted, but maybe they just didn't have a place for it.
Maybe they have a quota for deleted scenes they need to have for the DVD sets.
If they do,
we gotta cut something.
It's not a high quota. It's not a high quota. There weren't as many deleted scenes as I'd hoped, but just because I always want more.
Yeah.
Me too.
So we have something interesting in the live chat here. Our very good friend Back of the Head, that's John Orchiola of Screen Rant, says, I watched an episode of Boston Legal today with Rene Auberjonois and Armin Shimmerman back together. That is a perfect way to commemorate today, is seeing two pals who not just cared about each other, but very much respected each other's work. If I remember their stories correctly. Melissa, did you ever meet Rene? How was he?
He was incredible. I didn't know him a whole lot, but when I did meet him, he was always so gentle and gracious and just wonderful. He loved Aaron, and which Aaron didn't realize until Rene actually directed him in an episode of Deep Space Nine, and Aaron was reading this book from the Dragonlance series, and
Ooh.
Rene talked to him about it. And then the very next time they worked together, Rene brought Aaron an audiobook version of the Dragonlance, one of the Dragonlance books that Rene had actually voiced. And Aaron was so surprised that Rene had actually remembered and paid attention to, you know, the book series that he loved. And I also remember a time when I was with Aaron in England for a convention, and it was breakfast, and we were all in the hotel breakfast area where it was a, you know, the continental breakfast type thing. And Aaron was sitting looking on his phone, and I was there finishing up my breakfast, and Rene comes over and he leans into Aaron and he says, "When you need to put your phone away when you have such a beautiful woman sitting right next to you." And I just
Aww.
said, "Oh, you charmer."
Aw.
So that was very sweet, but he was always very, very sweet. So yeah, I have only fond memories of the gentleman that Rene Auberjonois was.
Hmm. That's very nice. I was trying to remember, there was a funny meme about British breakfasts or British food. And it was like, one person said, "Is all English food supposed to taste this bad?" And then the response was, "If prepared correctly, yes." And I thought that was funny answer to that. But that was a very nice couple of stories. Thank you for that, Melissa. So back to Strange New Worlds, just to finish up on that.
Mm.
Joshua, do you have any idea about the production timeline? Have you heard anything, or do you know anything about the production timeline or release dates or anything like that with Strange New Worlds?
No, I have not. Yeah, I've not heard anything. I know as much as anyone else. I would imagine that given when I mean, I guess it all depends on when Paramount decided the season was greenlit. If it was greenlit, you know, they might have done it like they did Picard seasons 2 and 3, where Strange New Worlds was filming its final episodes while season 4 was being written, which would have put it well before the strikes. But if production didn't start until season 3 was airing, that was right when the strikes happened. So, you know, they could be starting from the very beginning. I mean, I think I remember seeing a headline going
Yeah, there's
around.
that DGA or that whatever the Directors Guild
Yeah.
of Canada is.
Yeah, that it's ramping up. So it's definitely going to be at least a year, maybe more before we get, I think, New Stranger, like maybe end of 2024, if
That's
they
what we're
really
hoping. Yeah.
push it. Yeah.
That's what about you, Shar? Have you heard anything?
Well, I think I saw a thing online where somebody was heading to Toronto mid-December. Their schedule said, and this is somebody associated with Strange New Worlds. It might have been Anson Mount, but don't quote me on that. So I have a feeling they're going to do some shooting, whatever they can cram into before the holiday break, just to try and get things, you know, going and
Dust
gain
off the
some
bridge.
momentum back.
Yeah, I
That's
think they were
off the
mentioning
bridge.
something about, I don't remember which week it was. I think it's starting next week. They're going to try to like knock out like 1 or 2 shoot weeks real quick. But
That.
at best, that's an episode, right?
I also wonder if maybe Paramount won't do a split season kind of thing. Like you get the
Mhm.
first 5 episodes, and then a couple months later they'll
Right.
drop the rest. You know, because
That's
they've
being
run
talked
out
about a
of.
lot more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've run out of. They no longer do the thing where, like, you know, back in the old days where Trek would be, you know, they'd be on the air while still making the episodes. So you know, they
I missed
might.
that.
It sounded precarious, like a precarious work environment. But
Yeah.
I do miss a good 26 episode Star Trek
Yes.
season, though.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think
much.
we all
Or
do.
even a bad
Mhm.
one. Yeah.
Exactly.
You see, Katie, back in the olden days before you were born, we used to get to just watch Star Trek every week.
It was
And then,
free
like,
in the air.
and it just floated around. And we watched it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, since it's gone off the air, I'll be honest, I was never a fan of holodeck episodes. It just, I was like, oh, I bet the safety protocols will be broken. But now I recently was rewatching a bunch of DS9 episodes and Voyager episodes, and some of those holodeck ones, they're now that's all we're gonna have of these shows. They're better than they were. They kind of age like
Nothing
good
compares
wine,
to
or
Bride of Chaotica. Oh,
Bride of Chaotica
beautiful.
is
oh.
I will
Captain Proton is
see,
the best holodeck guy.
I
Absolutely.
will see that, but I
Totally.
will raise you, take me out to the holosuite.
Exactly.
I mean, that is
That's a good one.
like Josh was saying when I first watched these way back in the day. I remember I'm like, oh, holodeck episodes, oh geez, I just want to see aliens and stuff. But now that I remember the Dominion Wars very well. I've seen Cause and Effect 1,000 times. I've gotten my fill of all the goodies that I thought were amazing back in the day. But now when I go back and I watch these holodeck episodes, I'm like, actually, these are really good. They're fun. They're like these character stories more so than, something that's, big scale or whatever. They're these bottle episodes. And Take Me Out to the Holosuite.
So good.
I remember not really caring for it when I first saw it because it was like a break from the Dominion Wars, which was why I was watching. But now that, now I know where everything fits and it all sits, and like Take Me Out to the Holosuite was really, really good. And it was so fun. And I was just smiling the whole time and laughing. And it was just made me very happy to watch.
Take Me Out to the Holosuite has one of my favorite Odo moments in it. It's when he's in his office going, strike!
Yes.
Oh, yes,
Strike!
yes.
You're out of here.
His rehearsal. So cute.
Yes. So cute.
Double checks the pad.
Yes. You're out of here. Yes.
Adorable.
So cute.
Well, Anne-Marie, what do you think? I think we have 2 or 3 Chaotica people. We got some Take Me Out to the Holosuite.
Okay,
Where do you
first of all, I love Fairhaven.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I'm
Oh
sorry,
boy,
Anne.
shots fired.
Honestly, I love every Vic Fontaine episode, obviously.
Oh,
Vic Fontaine.
Sure.
I
rules.
mean, and the TNG ones I love too. I love that crazy like Barkley holodeck episode. What is it called?
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it.
Hollow
But yeah,
Pursuits, maybe?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It's just, I love them all.
What about when Barkley becomes a spider and he's like up on the wall on the window?
I love that.
That was
such
Genesis,
a good
I think.
impression.
Wow.
Yeah. How did that happen? Where did we go?
I
Anyway.
love
I'll
holodeck
say
know,
episodes.
Barkley
what's
was not
happening?
my favorite when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I get Barkley in like he might have really been the winner of Star Trek now that I think about it.
He was because he
If
saved
I had a
Voyager.
holodeck,
Mhm.
true. Now, if I had a holodeck, I would like practice all of my conversations in it before happening. It's just like, okay, what could go wrong here?
Careful, you might fall in love with Chakotay. I've heard it happens.
Oh, we're past that point. We're well past that point.
That's like a warning when you go
Mhm.
into the holodeck.
It's true.
I could see Tom like sticking that up on the door, just screwing with them.
Yeah, and if you're Chakotay, be careful. You might fall in love with 7 of 9, as everybody knows. Am I right, guys?
Yeah. happened. Why'd you have to do that?
Got really icy in here all of a sudden. You see, Shar and Katie are hardcore JC shippers. So if you
As
say
one should be, I
anything,
suppose.
if you say anything
No.
C7, they're gonna shoot daggers at you so hard.
The side eye. Yes,
I mean,
you will
but
receive
all
it.
right, which one is more regrettable, C7 or Worf Troy?
Oh, God.
Ooh.
I would have said
That's
tough.
Worf Troy until this year, because he did get that
Yeah.
scene when he rescues them. And I was like, it made it worth it. It made it worth it. I'm
You're
not even mad
absolutely
anymore.
right.
That's up for
This
a funniest
dude-
moment.
Joshua is psychic.
I know. I know.
Joshua is psychic because look at this article from ScreenRant.com. Star Trek TNG's Marina Sirtis is glad Troy didn't marry Worf. Quote, I would have killed myself.
So dramatic.
So hear her saying
But
it too.
didn't she also say that kissing Michael Dorn was like kissing her brother, and that's why she hated it?
Oh,
Oh.
I suspect there could be more to that friendship, but that's just me.
What are you trying to say here, Dr. Anne
know.
Marie
He goes and
Siegel,
stays at our house in
Hollywood,
Greece for
Hollywood
once.
shipper?
I don't know. Have you seen them together in real life?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're buddies. they're buddies.
They're not chilling like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anne Marie, how
I
dare you
don't know.
insinuate?
Well, and his wife
There were a
would
few
get in
months
the
there.
way. I think.
So I'm going to put a poll about this because I need to know. It sounds like you guys think, Joshua certainly does, that the Troy Worf thing was a mistake or not the best angle. What do you guys think?
Honestly, it really did work for me because she started having like a really intimate role with Worf and Alexander and got to really know Worf and like sort of brought out a side of him that nobody else really tapped into. That's obviously I'm a Worf Troy person or Troy Riker person, but it made more sense. Like Chakotay 7, there was like a teeny little spark when they were stuck on that planet and like Chakotay broke his leg or something. And like
They get
but
that
was-
idea.
But that was before
Planet.
that was like before they even wrote C7 to start. And I was like, it's even stupider because if you were actually going to start that for real, you would have started it in that episode. Like
Well,
where they're like stuck in that atmosphere. or whatever.
having written about my particular disdain for that choice in Voyager, just recently, I don't know if it was in the Mark Altman Edward Gross books or maybe, I don't know, it was in one of the Voyager books, where both Robert Beltran and Jerry Ryan said that after the holodeck simulation where she kind of fell for fake Chakotay,
Yeah.
they had that thing and they had apparently asked the producers, like, should we play this as romance? And they're like, no, this is not that. And then like 2-3 episodes later, there it is.
Guess what?
They're having picnics and cargo
Well,
bays and
Because Robert Beltran was like, what's his name? The guy
To Brandon
the writer-
Braga.
the Brandon Braga
Yes.
thing.
Braga.
Yeah, he
Like,
said,
I
I bet you wouldn't.
yeah.
Brandon Braga and Jerry Ryan were dating for a little while, and Robert Beltran said, "Oh, I bet you won't let me kiss Jerry or have a relationship with Seven of Nine." He says, "That's your girl."
Yeah.
That's
They-
where
yeah, it
that
all
came
happened-
from.
That
It came from a
happened on
dare?
a dare.
Oh my
Yes.
Oh,
And it's just
I'll
like,
do it,
dude,
bro. I'm not scared.
that makes it
Yeah.
even worse.
I'll say
Agreed.
that sounds like a great convention story.
That's probably where I heard it,
Yeah.
honestly.
What
But
that means
seriously-
in terms of reality, I don't know. But
But it's also like more offensive because like they only had a few episodes left and they're gonna like do something on a dare to like mess with our storyline.
Mhm.
Well, and here's the other
Seriously.
thing: is in the context of the show, Chakotay pursuing Seven is kind of gross
Yes.
because mentally and emotionally, she's still somewhat at an adolescent level, not a full adult level.
Yes.
Because she's been Borg so long, she never had, typical growing up moments.
oh,
and
I've got a hot take too to build
Oh.
off that. Because
Do it.
think about it. Janeway was like Seven's like kind of a surrogate mom, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
who does Janeway love more than anyone?
Ooh.
Chakotay.
Right.
So of course, Seven, in that sort of emotional arrested development, she kind of is like, oh, mom
Oh.
likes him, I like him. And so that was
Oh,
that was why I was
God.
like,
Brian would
But
have a
didn't she
heyday with
also-
this.
Didn't
This
she
is
also want to
amazing.
hump Harry Kim first?
No,
Harry wanted to hump
you
her.
have that backwards.
yeah, who
No,
didn't,
didn't
though?
she
I
say,
mean,
take
he-
off
he
your
was-
clothes, Ensign? That's all I remember from
Yeah.
that scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched this not that long ago. What happened
Yeah.
is she figured out that Harry had a massive crush on her because he was acting completely awful and awkward toward her, like he's some teenage kid, Never mind the fact that he had a fiance at the start of the show. It's not like the guy is a complete dummy to romance. But anyway, so she says, "Oh, you want to copulate? Let's go. Take off your clothes."
Yeah.
That's right. I do remember that now.
That's how I get rid of got unwanted attention.
I mean, you got to appreciate being direct sometimes.
Yeah, but then back to Chakotay and Seven. So that was all done on a dare, but who knew that they would have such incredible on-screen chemistry, right?
I mean,
oh
it's true.
yeah, they
It's
definitely
true.
did.
No,
I know you
they
can't catch
did
lightning in a
not.
bottle, but
They did not. They had zero chemistry
It was so bad.
whatsoever.
My glasses
It
were
was
getting
like
steamy just
cold
watching them
fish
together.
meet cold fish. And
It was like dunking a saltine cracker in Sprite or something. Like it was unholy. It should never happen again. Like,
It was
who thought it up.
wrong.
It was wrong.
oh no.
You guys
Yeah,
just
like the
don't
whole
get it.
Janeway Chakotay thing happened because of their chemistry.
Yeah. They definitely had more chemistry, but I can understand why they never went that far because he was her first officer.
Sure. Yeah, there were plenty of logistical reasons to not go there, but was the connection there? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like they had to try
Absolutely.
to not have it.
Yeah.
well, he spoke on it in
no.
Shattered, right? When they were, he was with the pre Badlands Janeway, and she was like, "Hey, I'm getting a vibe here." And he was like, "No, we did not. We decided to be."
He's like,
Never
no,
go that far.
Yeah, we didn't go that far.
But now with
we just
Prodigy,
decided to have
anything's
long
possible.
looks. Oh, that's
This is true.
And I love
We can
some
get
of the
more of those
people's-
like long looks.
I love like some people's takes who are like, you know what? Maybe they should have investigated it because like they are on a ship. It's going for forever. And I feel like sometimes like in like post the current feminist wave or like the feminist wave like in the 90s, what's not like then it becomes like women aren't allowed to date in the workplace. And it's sort of like a double standard. And I think what would have been really truly woke or like next level is if they had investigated like Janeway getting to like
Anne-Marie, many women in the 90s wanted this relationship to happen for that very reason, to show that she could have a personal life and a professional life and see her balancing the two, because that's exactly what plenty of working women in the 90s were doing, raising their families and juggling everything else.
It was still coming up like in med school, and there'd be like married couples, and people would always like, if you had a boyfriend who was also a med student or like a resident, people would always make comments like, you shouldn't be dating in the workplace. But like, no one ever says that to the men who are like dating other people. So I just feel like Voyager had a really good opportunity to investigate that. But I mean,
they did. And at the same time, it's probably good that they didn't, just because I don't know if it would have been handled properly back then because of attitudes. Yeah. And Kate Mulgrew agreed with that stance of no, let's not, because it will ruin my character.
Yeah, and it further strengthens the like Kirk parallel to Janeway, because I feel like Janeway is the most Kirk captain of all of them.
Oh yeah,
and Kirk, for all his dalliances, he did not, despite some long looks at yeomans, I don't think he ever actually hooked up with the crew member. Now, Picard, on the other hand, making eyes at Bev.
He tried
all the time.
Yeah, the Christmas party.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then there's all that.
But the thing that with Janeway and Chakotay, I was never opposed to her having a relationship or having workplace relationships, but he was her direct subordinate. And and then you look at a couple like Jadzia and Worf, where there is a workplace romance there. And that worked because they weren't, no
chain of command.
Exactly. So that was the only thing with me that didn't work well with Janeway and Chakotay at the time. That doesn't mean later down the line they couldn't, but
here's what I'm going to add to this, and I don't know much about anything, is that I try to look at it from the person's point of view. Let's say you are Janeway and you are the captain of a ship. Okay. Those are your options. You know,
Of course.
Or you have a weird hollow boyfriend.
If you like Chakotay and he likes you, like your options are pretty limited. For all you know, you might be there for the rest of your life. It might be slightly inappropriate, but at the same time, you're like, well, I'm kind of stuck. I can't clock out and then date him on the off hours. So, she's in a really tough position to where, I almost feel like anything goes. Like you'd rather it wouldn't go in that direction, but she's in a really
it is a close power dynamic,
situation.
which is better in some ways than the other. Like when Picard dates Nella Darren, and then suddenly there's a bunch of problems with the chain of command and all the people between who give her directions. It's just, there's no perfect. That's why it's complicated. There's no.
And then just to add to that, with 7 of 9, this is going to be even edgier. Is when we say, okay, that looks a little weird because she kind of, to us, we look at her and she kind of acts like an adolescent. She kind of acts like she doesn't know. She's still kind of developing how to be a human. Okay. But then I look at it from her point of view. And if she wants to date or copulate, she can't date an adolescent boy. No. She can't date somebody on that level. She has to date an adult, even if it's Harry Kim.
Well, it would have been wrong. Remember, there was Icheb on the ship. That would have been wrong. He's underage. Yeah. But the same thing, emotionally, that's where she is at. And that's why it's also wrong for Chakotay to say, yeah, I'll tap that.
But then what's her option is what I'm saying. If she wants to copulate, she has no options then.
I think she does have an option, and she could do what you do with our YouTube comments and just have a poll. Run it during Neelix's program, have it pop up on every screen and be like, do you guys think that I should be allowed to do this? Just want to feel the vibes. Get a taste of what's going on.
Speaking of which, we have a poll in the live chat. You're right, Katie. Which
Great transition.
Did the Troy and Worf relationship work for you? The options are sure or barf. And I'm extremely disappointed in everybody that 75% of you have said barf to Troy and Worf. That's so mean.
That is
that because we're always so
an enlightened audience in the live chat.
Yeah.
I think it is. We had so many seasons of obsession between the two of them.
Oh, I do love them.
It was like going against the grain. If you ever pet a cat backwards, that's what it feels like that relationship was like. Just
well, it's that Riker and Troy are meant for each other. And so for them, whenever they go off and see other people, it feels wrong. No, guys, you're wasting your time. Stop that. And the fact that it's Worf, somebody we're very familiar with, it doubles that down.
He gets Barkley in his corner. He pulls out the voodoo dolls. He's like, okay, no, you two stay together, ties them together.
Yeah.
See him being the puppet master.
I do like that their relationship with regard to Alexander and what she did for Worf with how he approached Alexander, but I don't think it needed to go beyond that.
Yeah, it didn't have to.
At the same time, Riker wasn't making any moves then. So
yeah,
Riker wait around for forever.
Yeah, Riker was a yo-yo. He was meaning that 1 minute he was hot and heavy for her, and the next minute he was hot and heavy for someone else. It was yo-yo.
Carry on again.
There was that weird Thomas Riker stuff. It's just a lot to process.
Yeah,
the Thomas Riker one was real fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did they really miss out on a chance to bring that back? I feel like having Thomas for one, no, we needed more.
Oh, that was
I heard they couldn't get the actor.
So difficult.
Oh my God.
The one good thing about all the Troy boyfriends was it did give you that scene where Riker could teach a generation of 90s kids how not to be toxic not to have
Yes.
toxic masculinity, where he'd always be like, I just want her to be happy. And like, especially if they were a dick, he'd be like, you better watch out. And he's like, oh, there was one scene, I don't know if I'm remembering this right, but I think he was like, are you going to come after me? And he's like, no, she will. It was,
It's
again,
very sweet.
second
'cause
wave
when he has to
guys,
save
they
her-
didn't always write the women perfect in the second wave days, but they did nail Riker and not being jealous of Troy.
I just
Riker
love
nailed
too, like
things too.
sometimes he would go help
He sure
intervene
did.
if the
Sure did.
person was like a bad guy, like the guy who like drained her age. And he's never like, I told you so, or like never says anything unkind. He's just like happy she's like doing well. Love him.
Mhm.
Maybe a look of longing before the ad break. Other than that,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, there were so many looks
Riker
of
eyes to
longing.
commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, especially in the first few seasons. It was like half the time they were interacting was just
Well, when they were she was talking about that fever where it enhances the libido of the beta.
Oh
Zoid.
yeah.
The look on Riker's
Quadruples
face.
it.
Yes, when Troy says
Please,
that, he's
tell me
like,
more.
"You never told me that." Wait a minute. Hey.
Their background acting is just like the best thing in the world. It's like none of that was on the page, and it just makes the show so much better.
well, wasn't it in the one of the Picard little featurettes they put out when that was coming out? Didn't they say that they always
Oh
played
yeah,
it like they were
especially
madly
like
in
as it got
love,
longer
even
and
against the
longer into
wishes
the
of
show. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So they were
It
always
was-
giving it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it
Well, that
My
is the
head canon
secret.
is that they were having
Right.
telepathic Imzadi talks. We just didn't hear.
Yes.
That is the
Hell
secret that a
yeah.
lot of actors do is they'll come up with their own motivation to add depth to a scene, even if the writers aren't doing it. And a lot of times the writers will see that or pick up on that and then start to write it in that direction, like what Rene Auberjonois did inadvertently, it seems, with Kira, when the way he would look at her, they're like, look, they're looking at the dailies. They're like, look, Odo loves Kira. So they wrote it based on how he looked at her. Ethan Phillips has said, who plays Neelix, that his secret was that he always played it like he was in love with Janeway. Never told her, never told anybody. But then when you go back
I've
and
never
Yeah.
heard that.
watch
That just
his
blew my mind.
scenes,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
kind
it makes so much
of
sense.
it kind of works. It kind of
wow.
that's going to come out in the upcoming Voyager documentary, everybody. It's been shown on some of our clips that we've shown ahead of time. So I'm not breaking any secrets here, but when he says that, it makes you think that kind of works. You could see the way
true.
he's just always like, yes, Captain. Oh,
Yes,
right,
I'll
right
make
away.
you conversate
Right,
with
I'll
it.
do anything for you, Captain. Here's some coffee.
Find your Victorian teacups. I'll go check the storage box.
God.
Well, I just wrote about how I loved that Neelix's story had an ending, because Star Trek has so few
Yes.
endings because it's ongoing and
And a happy
I-
one.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it he's keeping Starfleet in the dark. Like it is really great. But now with that in mind, I'm thinking of that like last scene where Janeway's like, I need someone to be my Starfleet ambassador, and adds so much. I'm gonna go rewatch the episode again.
Oh,
Aw.
That's real good.
Dad. I
I
love that.
can't wait for that Voyager documentary.
Mhm.
Same.
We were just talking about it today, in fact. More on that.
Oh,
Some
by
other
the
time.
member of the 455 team.
Yeah. So there's a lot of secrets there that actors do, which I think is really cool. I feel like that's the big one, though. I remember doing a theater scene when I was first starting out with somebody, and our teacher comes up to us when we're practicing and we're just kind of running through it, and he goes, "Hey guys, play it like you're in love with her. Go." And it's like something clicks, and suddenly this boring ass scene totally works. And it totally, suddenly all the lines make way more sense. You get it. It's not just an idiot. It's an idiot who likes a girl. That's very different,
Makes
But-
him even more of an idiot.
It does. But it works. Now oh, that's why he's an idiot. And also his intelligence.
Motivation.
Well, let's see what we have now. Oh, you guys. we have to talk about this, you guys. Trekmovie.com and everybody
Saturnalia?
else tells us
Yes.
by Trek
Mhm.
Movie
Mhm.
staff, trekmovie.com staff, we like them. Star Trek Picard, Strange New Worlds, and Lower Decks pick up 15 Saturn Awards nominations. Whoa, that's nuts.
Yeah. Amazing.
Now, Saturn Awards are genre, right? So that's going to be sci-fi, horror, fantasy. Is there anything else included in that? I don't think so.
Don't they throw
Mm,
comic
so
books
3.
stuff in sometimes?
Oh yeah, maybe
yeah.
superhero comic book, maybe.
Superhero. Yeah. Well,
So for best science fiction TV series, Picard and Strange New Worlds were in that. Best animated TV series, of course, Lower Decks was in that. Let's see. Best actor, Anson Mount for Strange New Worlds and Patrick Stewart for Picard. Best supporting actor in a TV series, Jonathan Frakes in Picard. Ed Speleers in Picard, Ethan Peck in Strange New Worlds. Best supporting actress, Jess Bush and Celia Rose Gooding for Strange New Worlds. Jerry Ryan for Picard. Best guest star, Amanda Plummer in Picard. Paul Wesley in Strange New Worlds. Whoa, that's a lot.
So
That's
there
a
are going to be like
list.
multiple
Mhm.
Star Trek tables this year in the actual awards show, which
Yeah.
is like fun to think about.
That's a good
Definitely.
point. Yeah, when I went the one year, I was just sitting at the lonely.
Oh,
Oh no,
when
there
you were
was
Doug Jones's date, side
yeah.
piece.
Was it? I was his pal.
Okay.
I wasn't his. I was not. I
His
don't know
bit on
about
his
his date.
side.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had a little bit of Picard and a little bit of Discovery at that table. But you're right, with all this, there's gonna be 4 tables, right?
Heck yeah. Little mini
would-
reunion.
Did
I mean, I
the
would
Saturn Award,
guess.
do they have like VFX and production awards too? Because I would imagine those guys should be
I'm
in those
checking,
nominations because
'cause
they got
Yeah, I
actual.
don't
I think some
remember.
of them even got I think somebody like the makeup person for Picard, I think got
Yeah.
an actual Emmy nom.
Hmm.
Which that they always do that. It's always some technical category. They never
Mhm.
look at
Yep.
performance
They
or
don't
story,
appreciate
even
the
though
story.
they
No, they
don't. And I'll tell you
don't.
what,
Well,
it's got to be harder to believably act and react to something that does not exist. If
Mhm.
someone in front of a green screen, like, it's black box theater, it's just green. I don't it
Right.
but of course it's, lasers and sorcerers and
Mhm.
so it looks
You know-
like best 4K home media release is like the most technical things I see. So of course, Darren
Okay.
Doctorman's Star Trek the Motion Picture, the director's edition,
So
4K
cool.
got a
Nice.
nomination. Amazing.
Just to add to not acting to anything, Ian McKellen famously broke down on the set of The Hobbit, if I remember correctly, because he was basically acting to 13 tennis balls instead of 13 dwarves. And he at one point like said, I did 40 years of the Royal Shakespeare or whatever to act to tennis balls or something, like the poor, like he actually had like a real kind of breakdown. I don't remember who has the exact
Aw.
that remembers it, but it's like he's sitting there thinking like, I've done all this my whole life and I'm 70 years old and I'm acting at the guys and holding a stick in front of me or something. Poor dude. But he nails it as Gandalf anyway, of course.
Yeah.
Also, CBS got nominated for Ghost too, which I love.
Mhm.
Ooh. And Good Omens had a nomination, I saw.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nice.
good for those are great CBS noms, which we love them keeping their lights on.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
What do you guys think has the best chance of winning? I know that's tough to like remember every little thing that I just said of the 15 nominations. Picard and Strange New Worlds in Best Sci-Fi Series, Lower Decks in Animated, Anson Mount, Patrick Stewart for Best Actor. Best Supporting Actor was Frakes, Ethan Peck, Ed Speleers, and Todd Stashwick. Supporting Actress was Jess Bush, Celia Rose, Jerry Ryan, and Best Guest Star was Amanda Plummer and Paul Wesley.
Mhm.
I think
Not to be
Amanda
concerned-
Plummer has a
Picard.
good chance.
Definitely Amanda Plummer.
Amanda Plummer.
Yeah.
She
Oh, really?
just killed that role.
She really did.
She was
Yeah.
fun. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think Jonathan Frakes and Jerry Ryan have a very good chance as well, because I've never seen Jonathan Frakes act better than in
He
Picard.
was amazing.
Totally.
in
He
That's the
was
best
so
he's ever.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so
Hands
good.
down.
He more than deserves to win. I don't even know
He's
who
like-
else is in that category, but give it to him anyway. I'm
He's
sure
better
everybody
than
deserves
fine
it.
wine.
He's so good. Yeah.
But Jerry
I don't know
Ryan
what-
also turned in great performances, so I wouldn't surprise me if she gets a win too.
Mm.
Yeah. When you
I
mentioned,
see Patrick getting a statue.
Yes.
Like they're, especially given that it was like the swan song of Picard. I
Right.
think,
Yeah.
I don't, who knows how they vote for these things, but I feel like that's going to play, especially depending on the age of the voters. If they're anywhere between like, very late 30s to mid 50s, they're going to feel very strongly about
And
the
Star
last
Trek's
generation.
been such a big part of Saturn Awards. So
Hmm.
you know that they've seen TNG and like can appreciate it more than Emmy voters.
Oh, Diego Luna for Andor. That's so. I would never be able to
Pedro
vote. I would never be able to
Pascal.
vote. I love
Mhm.
all of
no,
them.
but
Pedro
when you
Pascal.
mentioned for best guest star Amanda Plummer, I checked. I'm like, oh boy, that is tough.
Wait, Todd Stashwick. Todd
Gian-
Stashwick got the
Ooh,
vote.
Giancarlo
Ah,
Esposito.
Nick
Ooh.
Offerman in The Last of Us, Andy Serkis, Catherine Zeta-Jones. I mean, this is
Ooh.
chock full
Yikes.
of.
Ooh, that's
That's
Yeah.
Oh, Andy Serkis. Nick Offerman too. That episode, I saw that
Yeah.
like 3 weeks because I got screeners before, a long time before anyone else did, and I could talk to no one about it. It was.
Hmm.
I couldn't
But I
wait.
think this
It was
dude,
such a good
Giancarlo Esposito,
Yeah,
is
that's your
possibly the
crush.
best
He's
actor
so
of our
good.
time. He's
Well,
unbelievable.
Gael Garcia Bernal is a fantastic actor as well. I
I don't
mean,
know
Yeah.
that one.
well, he played Che in what is it? The Motorcycle Diaries. Oh, so good.
And weren't they both in that? Him and Diego Luna, weren't they both in some like 90s, early 2000s movie? It was just I can't
Oh,
think of
you
it.
two Mama
Oh
Tommy
shit!
then.
Ernie Hudson
yes.
for best supporting actor. That's Winston
Yeah.
from
Yes.
Ghostbusters.
Mhm.
I gotta
Oh,
change
I
my
love that
vote
guy.
for best supporting.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Wow.
Honestly,
Quantum Leap.
Category-wise, I
Hey.
think Best Supporting Actress might be one of the easiest ones for Star Trek.
What
Yeah.
We Do
Yeah.
in the Shadows was nominated too.
So
Well, for
here,
best supporting, best
Yeah,
supporting, I
go
just
ahead.
want to say Todd Stashwick. I'm rooting for him. Not just for Picard, even though it was great Picard, but 12 Monkeys
Mhm.
is where I first saw
You're
him.
a big
what
12
about
Monkeys.
what about
favorite
Matt
TV show.
Smith? Matt Smith for how
Matt Smith? He's got a big future, I think.
anybody
Really,
that's seen House of the Dragon was shocked at how good Matt Smith was. I know I was. I was like, that's the Doctor Whom guy.
Yeah.
So good in
He
Doctor
was
Who.
fantastic.
Amazing actor. All these
Oh,
people
yeah.
are so talented. It's,
He was
Yeah.
transformed in House of the
Mhm.
Dragon, I thought.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I didn't think he could
when
play
that
a
first
baddie.
image came out of him, like in that wig, you should have bet on the Doctor Who message boards. It was like someone.
I
set
would
off
rather
a
die.
Bomb. It was insane. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Let me see. Was there anything
Having
else for us?
flashbacks now.
Oh yeah, so
That
best
really
actor.
is a stacked category.
Got that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. Who was it that was saying best supporting actress looks really good
Yeah.
for Star Trek? I think you're right. That's
Well,
pretty
you just
good.
Jerry's
Star Trek.
performance, she's just so dominant, and they gave her so much more with 7 this season.
Oh yeah.
And Celia Rose Gooding, she had such an amazing role in season
Mhm.
2.
I think this is
And
the one.
just
Love her.
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
it's so hard to pick.
Mhm.
I just hope Star Trek wins. I mean, be great to have any of them win it. I feel like Strange New Worlds though might get the shaft just because they're going to be back.
Yeah.
I just need like Picard to get a bunch because I want Legacy. So
Oh my
kind
gosh.
of like ignored on the Critics' Choice. They just need extra love and social media mentions.
Who's Harold Perrineau?
Michael from Lost. What else was he in? He was in Oz. I don't remember his character's name.
Who was Michael in Lost?
Walt's dad,
He
right?
was Walt's dad.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Who
Whoa.
was Walt?
The kid.
He played
with the
the
dog.
Oh, I
Angel
remember
in-
now. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Oh, he was the guy who replaced what was his name? Tank in Matrix, the 2 Matrix sequels.
Mhm.
Remember the
he's
guy at the
good.
where all the screens were? That was him. Too.
Cool. Good knowledge, everybody. God, everybody knows so many cool things.
And he
So
was in Romeo and Juliet.
The best Mercutio to ever
Yes.
bite his thumb. I bite my thumb, sir.
Oh,
My kid-
Yes.
So
I have a bit.
Yeah.
We'll do that scene.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
what about, okay, here's where it gets even crazier.
Okay.
Sorry to harp on these here too much, but best science fiction television series and/or
Mm.
Foundation. I know which one it's not going to be. The Mandalorian, The Peripheral, Silo. I know a couple it's not going to be.
Oh.
Picard or Strange New Worlds.
Mm.
I
Mm.
mean, if
Interestingly,
you're judging it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just looked up one of the supporting actresses and who's Rebecca Wisaki. I was like, who is that in Ghost? It's Hetty Woodstone, but she was also in Star Trek Picard as like,
She sure was.
I think she was that
Yes.
Romulan lady who had been on a game show or something. And then isn't that the one?
She was
had, like,
she was the one who
a
like had
Romulan
the
game
vision.
show? Yeah.
The where they were I can't remember it was Soji talking to I think Hugh took her in. Like she was one of the
Yeah.
Romulans.
Romulans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, she's in an episode of For All Mankind.
Nice. Who did she
Yeah.
play there?
Let me look again. I didn't recognize the name. Marge Slayton in 2019, so it must have been an early.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which I'm also like, I guess For All Mankind like wasn't in the calendar or something. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm obsessed with this season. There's some plot lines I
Today's
just I can't get enough
episode,
of.
oh my god, so good.
Hell yeah.
That was an evil kind of laugh there, Shar.
I don't want to spoil anything because you just gotta. There's a scene
I've
you
not
gotta
seen it
watch.
yet. I've been writing it. I've not seen it.
Oh,
You
it's,
know, I
it's
just
such a
thought
good
of
show.
something. I just thought of something fun. Melissa, remember how Aaron Eisenberg used to put an egg on his head, and he would be like, eggnog? You know, he would do that funny joke, and we would. You never saw him do that? He did it like 3 or 4
No.
times on our show. I just realized that if that egg had fallen off his head, it could be a romlet. What do you think?
Oh my
Oh
god.
I know. That's very funny.
Ah, damn.
I know he loved that eggnog joke, and maybe I blanked it out because he would beat the joke to death.
It is a good joke, and he told it well.
And he told it all the time.
Yeah. So let's
but-
move forward, everybody. You guys, for anybody that doesn't know, the 2024 Lappy Awards, that is the Star Trek Awards show that we're putting on as part of Virtual TrekCon 5. We're in the last stages of the preliminary voting. Tonight's going to be the last night that you can vote for the final nominees of these final 5 categories. Here they are. Number 1 is, and this is in the universe division, so that usually includes all of Star Trek, new and old, TV and movies, everything. Even the fan films? Nope. I mean, maybe it will someday. It's certainly possible. Okay. So this first one of the 5 is, what is the most heartbreaking death in Star Trek? So everybody, you can vote on this in the Virtual TrekCon Facebook group. Now, if you don't have Facebook, as some people don't, that's okay, because this is for the nominees. And all those nominees, the finalists, they will move on to the main final voting, and that will be on a Google form that anybody can vote on. That will be going up on Tuesday. That's it. We're already here. Starting on Tuesday, the big voting actually happens on Google. You don't need any kind of social media. You can just go in and make your votes. It'll be fun to predict what everybody votes on. I could predict some of all of you, I think. So, most heartbreaking death in Star Trek, TV, movies, old, new, we've got a really good mix in there. A couple surprises were added. And if you don't see your most heartbreaking death, the one that hurt you the most or really affected you, add it in. You can add these in. It's really great.
Spiteful for today.
Dave Gregory had a great add-in with Hugh. Oh,
right.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. One that I didn't. Well, whatever. I don't want to sway anybody's.
I'm voting for that guy Moopsy 8.
I don't. Or
Banana dude.
Wayoon 8. Yeah. Was Wayoon 8 the nice
Narge,
one?
Narge.
The one
Narge.
White.
Another great Odo episode where
Yeah.
Wayoon was trying to defect. I think that was Wayoon 8.
And then he gave his life for Odo. That was so. Oh.
I ain't dropping no eaves, sir. Honest. Oh, that's Frodo. Sam talking to Frodo. Okay. The other one is, which one-off alien species is the most fun? One-off alien race. That's an alien race that was featured in one episode. If they show up again in the background of another episode, we can't really count that against them because there's so many times where it's like, for example, the Soleil or the Sele, I think it's Soleil, right? They're those snake people in the first season of Next Generation. They're just in that episode. If you happen to see one that pops up, usually Lower Decks is the worst perpetrator of this. They sneak in everything everywhere. It's okay. They were still just in one episode. And there has to be more than one of that. So if it's just one character that you see ever only, then that's not really a race. That's just one person. You don't really know if that's how their race is or whatever. So it's not so much a character. It's an alien race. So there's a lot of fun ones in there, including a couple I had forgotten what they were called, the Iosians. I thought that it said lotions at first.
Yeah, I had to change it. Lotions.
Yeah, I was like, what are the lotions? It's weird. Original series is so weird. But then there's a lot of big ones. There are things like, and so this is the most fun alien species. Most fun, right? So there's a lot of good ones like the Dupplers, the lotions, the Docile.
I want that to be a real alien now.
The Enterprisians, the Baku, the Nibiran from Star Trek Into Darkness. There's a whole ton of fun ones in here.
I'm
the
shocked
Mintakans.
no one's voted for the Ito yet. Famously from Justice.
Seem fun. Then we also have, which movie would you like to return to the big screen? So there are 13 movies, nothing to add there, 13 total movies. Which movies would you most like to see return to the big screen? Because, they do it sometimes. So you might be able to influence their decision. That could be fun. I know there's definitely a couple I would want to see again on the big screen.
If they did like Star Trek 4, I would want it to be a Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of production where like you have people who are like the nuclear vessels and like there's audience interaction. I could see that taking off.
It's a cool idea.
And at the end, there has to be water.
You just get like super soaker. You get those inflatable whale toys and just chuck them into the audience. Like there's
just like a slip and slide. A slip and slide would be fine.
That's how you exit the theater.
Kirk Thatcher.
Kirk Thatcher.
I would.
He's got to be there.
So then we have the last one here because I think that was 4. I believe this is the 5th and final one. Who is your favorite reintroduced legacy character in 2023. This one's got way too many qualifiers. It's super specific because it's basically a character from pre-2017. So that's all those series back then, the 13 movies. And some of them are getting reintroduced in new Star Trek, like Picard or like, Riker or whomever, Janeway. But this is only the ones that were reintroduced for the first time in 2023. So anybody that came back from 2017 to 2022, they've already been reintroduced. This is for the new crop. The people like Beverly Crusher, Dr. Chaotica, Rom, James Moriarty, Geordie LaForge, Michael Sullivan, Lita, Scotty, Ro Laren, Lore, Nick Locarno, Worf, and Cito Jaxa. I think that's a pretty comprehensive list.
Many.
Big
Really
Joshua
is.
Albert count? 'Cause we
So
never
no,
actually
because
met
he
him,
didn't.
but-
I know. I went back and watched because I was like,
Did we debate that last week?
yes,
Probably.
I have like it was like the Mandela effect where I felt like I knew him. And I was like,
Well, look,
no,
we
this is
Joshuas,
bad.
we try to stand up for each other when we can.
Yes.
Aw.
Yeah, so that's fun, everybody. Make sure you go and cast your votes tonight. It's your last chance, and then it's going to get crazy. It's going to be insane. It's going to be taken off
In
of
the
Facebook.
membrane.
That's right, Cypress Hill.
Good song.
It is. I think it was a cypress tree, a hill that had a cypress tree on it where they got the name originally. I remember looking that up and wondering if it was because they were originally from Cyprus, a town that's near Long Beach, but it wasn't that. It was, I think they're more, anyway, I think it was just a hill that they used to call Cypress Hill, whatever.
I had kind of an old man moment when I saw that Blue Beetle movie. There's a moment towards the end where, Blue Beetles, it's the part where the hero starts really kicking butt. And I believe that was the film where they played Cypress Hill. And I just remember being a
Ooh.
kid, like getting in trouble at school because we were passing around Black Sunday on cassette. And here it is in a family-friendly kids movie. It's wild. Cypress Hill used to be dangerous, people.
Yep.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
They
like
ain't going out
buying
like
slap
that.
bracelets. I was like, ooh, I'd get in trouble at school if I bought these slap bracelets then.
Slap bracelets.
But now it's like
Tisk,
Uncle
tisk.
Snoop Dogg and Uncle Be Real.
Yeah.
See, I know
Elder
I'm
statesman.
a nerd because I didn't try to smuggle anything in school.
Come on.
Too much of a teacher's
There's
pet.
still time, Katie. You're still
Yeah,
2 years
there
away
is.
from graduation.
Yeah.
No, I actually have seriously considered going back to get my master's degree just so I can call myself the master, and then go one step further and get my doctorate so I can call myself the doctor. And
Oh
it'd
my
be
God.
purely for fandom's
Gosh.
sake.
You
Purely
would.
for that. I could.
You would do a
Ryan
whole
doesn't
freaking
get it.
dissertation just for that.
The last little blurb will just be like, and I did this all because of Doctor Who. Thank you.
Right? So you can say when you're cosplaying, I am the doctor.
I am, and I mean it.
Or you could say,
Might not
I
be
am, I
perfect
said,
tomorrow.
like Neil Diamond.
Oh, I love that song.
Now, our good friend Rico E. Anderson tells us that he did voiceover audio description for The Peripheral. So definitely root for that show to win as well. Good job, Rico E. Anderson. The voiceover audio description, correct me if I'm wrong, is that for the visually impaired, so that he's describing what's going on? He does a lot of voiceover work in that regard. So that's great work,
Cool.
I think. And real quick, we just got a minute or so to jump on this, but we have to. And it is from a website. I thought it was called Fansided, but apparently it's kind of like a secondary thing of theirs. I don't know what that means, but that's what it
So many
shows. It says the Orville season 4, everything we know about a potential new season. I don't think we know
Really
anything, do we
interesting.
really?
Starts playing.
Well,
Yeah, do
taps
we
in the
actually know
background.
Do we?
Okay,
anything
well,
new?
What is going
I'm just
on
gonna
here?
summarize really fast.
Yeah.
Like they did remind me that back in March, there was like a Seth. Well, there was a Chad, the guy who plays,
Chad Coleman.
yes, Chad Coleman.
Mm.
He had done an interview and said like he had heard there were talks about it and Seth was pitching it, and then Seth did a tweet a little bit after that, still in March, that was saying like he would love to do it and he's still having some negotiations about it. Then we didn't hear anything. And then recently Adrian Pulicki was on, I believe, a podcast and said a bunch of things about how, so like it made the situation seem really dire. But this person's take is that it's not actually. And then while we were hanging out on the Facebook, we saw somebody share this or mention it. And then Doug Drexler was like, "Oh, I wouldn't be so sure." As in, like, we heard
is that covered in the article?
Again. No,
is that,
that's
I was going to say that is good
our
work.
edition.
Yeah,
that's our good
because
work.
I saw that somebody posted that article, that Negative Nancy article, saying like, "Oh, not going to happen," blah blah blah, and it says doesn't look good. And then Doug Drexler replies, because the guy posted it on Doug's page or account, and he says doesn't look good. And Doug Drexler replies to the post saying, "Nope, it looks very good." And I'm like, "Whoa, you guys, I want to know more." So
I don't have Doug Drexler's connections, but I do have a model of the ship he designed because it's amazing.
Whoa.
But I think it has a lot to do with Ted, because isn't that just coming out on Peacock now?
And
because he's been working on that for like 2 years, I thought.
Yeah.
With what's his name, Scott Grimes.
Scott Grimes.
Yeah.
And Teddy Johnson Gerald's in it, and Tom Costantino worked on it. And then also, this article also mentions like Seth had another project in the works too. So also, it just could be that he's been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is if he keeps casting Orville people, they'll be free.
Yeah,
when
they're
it's
just
time
hanging
to do
out
Orville.
together anyway.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And they'll be available when it's time to shoot the Orville, because they won't have had to get other jobs to make money if he's given them jobs to make money in the meantime. Because otherwise, if they're not working, they're gonna be like, "Okay, I got to pick something up." And then if the Orville wants to shoot, they're gonna say, "Sorry, I picked up Frasier. I'm working on Frasier now.
Gosh.
I'm the wacky neighbor on Frasier now. Sorry."
That'd be pain.
Katie could totally play the wacky neighbor, could she?
Oh, you have no idea. I draw a
Be
crowd
Kramer.
when I go outside now. I do these projects and stuff. I was working on a project for my brother, and I had my 94-year-old neighbor come over, and eventually others were congregating. They're like, "What is she doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just painting a box." So I really am that weird one.
In the live chat, very quickly, our pal Faith Howell, big shout out to Faith Howell, who says, "Thomas won't let me type, but we're happy that you're here, even if you're not able to type as much as you'd like." Let's very quickly talk about the week ahead. Before we go, let's see. This is a lot of stuff going on. Yesterday on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, we had a cool little throwback Thursday of a time that Srock Lofton and myself were joined by Robert Hewitt Wolf and Ira Stephen Bear to talk about what, Melissa?
Past tense part 1.
That's the one. And just kind of earlier days of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It was originally done in 2020 when we recorded this. It was a fun little thing. So go check that out if you'd like. Also, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm like, wait, that's in 2 days. At 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern time, go to the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. Oh, this is going to be so cool. We just finished covering seasons 1 and 2 of Star Trek The Next Generation. So before we went on to season 3, we watched something we'd never seen before, which was the documentary Chaos on the Bridge, produced by 455 Films, who brings you the Voyager documentary, The Captains, For the Love of Spock, What We Left Behind, etc. We watched it. We reviewed it. We also had Dave Zappone, who's the executive producer of the documentary, and Lolita Faggio joining in to help us talk it through. It was so mind-blowing and crazy. So check that out. 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern time on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel on Tuesday, Sunday, whatever it is. Then on Monday on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we are doing a review of the most Deep Space Nine sounding episode ever, Next Generation's episode Emissary. So check that out. That will be a good really is weird that they have that, but they got it first, I guess. Then on Tuesday, right back on this channel at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, come hang out with us for the main viewer. It's a live news show, kind of like this one. We have a lot of fun. We cover a lot of stuff. And then on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time, go to the Falling Tower YouTube channel for the Watch the First podcast. We are doing, oh, this is going to be crazy. So it's family month. So we're covering family shows, because for December. So we're really given a focus to try to support Prodigy on Netflix, right? So because that's going to be released on the 25th, everybody knows, on Netflix, and we really want it to do well. So they'll get a third season and so on. So we are going to be reviewing Troll Hunters on Netflix because it was written by several of the Prodigy writers. So we just want to envelop everything to do with Netflix and have our fun. Our very special guests are sci-fi guy Andre Kottman and a meteorologist named Katie Nicolau.
Who's that?
Never heard of her.
She's so cool.
Oh,
I know. So that's the week, everybody. It's going to be crazy. Oh, and on Tuesday, make sure to tune in because we're going to have all of the finalists for the Lappy Awards, and we're going to open up the voting. It's going to be crazy. We're not going to sleep. But Joshua, this has been so much freaking fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Can you tell everybody where they can find you and your works online?
I am on CBR. Just Google Joshua M. Patton, CBR. You should probably get my author page. You can find me on Twitter and most apps at Joshua M. Patton. And if you like literary type short stories about comic book silliness, my book Tales of Action and Adventure Book 1 is available on Amazon.
Hey, that's your shirt.
Oh, what? Oh my good. I didn't even know that I'm
what
so
a coincidence.
I am so embarrassed. That is, how silly. It's such a great shirt. And an even better book.
Awesome.
And where can they find that again?
That's on Amazon.
Got
ebook
it.
Or print.
Fantastic. What about you, Melissa Longo?
On social media at Melissa Longo, Malissa, and at introvertedrepublic.com, at Walking Art Made by Melissa, and Walking Art Made by Melissa on Patreon.
Whoa. And yourself, meteorologist Katie?
yes. Well, you can find me on all the social medias as at weather_Katie and on YouTube as So Many Random Fandoms.
I wanted to tweet at you last week and I started to put Katie and I was like, no. It's weather_Katie. I remember you said it enough times, it sticks. So thank you for that. And Charlene Schmidt, the OG of podcasting, by the way. It's true.
It was early on, maybe not
My
the
OG.
OG though. I don't know who gets that title. You can find me on social media under the handle Oh the Profanity, and you can find my soap at boldbubbles.com.
Yay.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay, I know it's not edible, but every time you post one, I'm just like, I want to bite out of it. I think it would be like fudge. It looks so good.
Like, Katie, I know you better than this. You've not been naughty. You don't need soap in your mouth. So don't.
But I want it.
But it'll make you smell delicious.
And your burps will be great.
I am not responsible if you eat the soap.
I'm the reason there are warning labels.
Speaking of which, what about you, Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel?
At Anne-Marie Siegel 1 on Twitter.
All right. And everybody, you can find me on Twitter at RyanTGHusk. Do you know when I tried to log into Twitter, I started putting in the wrong name and I'm like, how do I not even know? It's at RyanTGHusk. I say it all the time. Doesn't stick. At RyanTGHusk or just Virtual TrekCon, Falling Tower, or the Seventh Rule, wherever your favorite social medias are found, but especially right here on YouTube. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate all of you. By the way, shout out to Lane Page, Galenda, Allison Leach Hyde, Shag840, he's pretty fun, BL, Faith Howell, Linda Anderegg, Terry Rose, like Axl Rose, Portia, hello. We thank all of you for hanging out with us. What's up, Mona, May Borello, Bob D, Dave Gregory. We see all of you. We appreciate all of you. One Trek fan. That's it. We'll see you next time. And until then, have a chill weekend. You've earned it. Hey, when this ends, hit refresh and leave us a comment below. Tell us your favorite scent, or in Katie's situation, flavor of soap. And
yeah, let me know if there's a big consensus of something I don't already make. You never know. I might just throw it in there.
Yep.
Got to make new soap for January.